Welcome to the Sticky Thoughts podcast. Here we talk about thoughts that stuck with us. We get curious, we get honest, and we try not to spiral, but no promises. Here are your hosts. This is Kajal Singh.
And this is Smriti. And on this podcast, we are showing up not as psychologists, but as friends who are also psychologists.
And today we want to talk about a topic very close to our hearts, which is adult friendships. What comes to your mind when you think of adult friendships? Smriti.
That they are so messy. And I always, growing up, I saw how adults don't have a lot of friends. Or maybe, I don't know, at least the adults I saw would mainly be in family settings. I feel like I would always think to myself that, okay, when I become an adult, I do not want to be like these people and I would not prioritize my friendships because it really felt like the adults I was seeing were not prioritizing friendships. They were not really taking our time. And it's not like they didn't have any friends at all. There would be some friends who they would make some small talk with and, just talk about things a little bit, but not really talk, is what I felt. That was the impression I got. And I would always look at them and be like, okay, oh my God, their friendships are so shallow. I don't want to be that adult ever. And then here we are. I mean, I'd still say that I really try hard to not let my friendships become that way, but I feel like now I am more and more understanding like that it's really difficult. Adult friendships are difficult.
Okay, so that makes me want to think about my parents having friends. I don't see nothing because my parents do not spend time with their friends at all, especially my father. I see friendships in adulthood could get really complicated because I guess you have a lot more responsibilities, there is very little playtime. So, very interestingly, actually, my mother, who is now about 55 years old, she's only very
Hmm.
recently made a new friend.
Oh,
Yeah, which
okay.
is crazy. Kyuki, since I know my mother, I have not seen her be friends with anybody. I say just sit with somebody just to say talk about life or talk about something unimportant or just hang out with. I did not see that for the longest time in my mother until very recently, until a couple years back that she made this friend who is also our neighbor, sort of, because she lives on the floor above us. And it is beautiful. Matlab, I think that friendship has made my mother so much more confident, joyful. She makes more jokes. She literally hangs out with her. They have lunch together every day. They have lunch in the same room together every day because all of us are, out and away. So they have lunch together and then they nap together, which is kind of weird. But it's also very sweet because that she has been able to develop this friendship. It's like it's a whole as proper real friendship that they talk to each.
Yeah, it's a proper friendship. It sounds like a really proper friendship.
Yeah, that they talk to each other, spend time with each other, go for shopping together, and do things for each other. It's very nice. It's very pleasant to see. I think it's only impacting her life positively, which I'm really grateful for. And it's great.
I feel like that's also very nice to hear because you said that you haven't seen your mom have any friendships up until now that much or like to this extent. But now, even later in life, you can always develop friendships. And I think that's a
Yeah.
very hopeful thing because I feel like you also start to feel as growing up, I don't know, talking from experience here, but do you feel like, oh my God, am I never gonna make really close friends again or something like that, you know? The number of people you meet itself becomes more and more limited, let alone having proper experiences with them that would lead you to become really close. That so,
Yeah.
Kajal, what comes up for you when you think of adult friendships? How has it been for you? What are your thoughts and feelings?
It is so new. I mean, not that new that I'm an adult, but it's just the realization is very recent that, oh, I'm an adult, I'm a proper adult now, and I have to keep living the life and also make friends as I go along. So I personally did not ever take time to think about friendships and how I'll be making friends and how I'll be not making friends or I'll be choosing friends, etc. But I do remember when I started with my master's in another city where I don't speak the local language. I am shy. I'm not a person who would just go up to somebody to talk to them, just to make, friends with them. So it was very difficult for me in the beginning in college. I remember because when I think of myself in the first year of masters, I actually don't think of it very differently from my childhood personality or childhood friendship making flow for some reason.
Mm.
It is quite the same. I was quite the same shy girl trying to make friends. Maybe I like somebody, maybe I want to be friends with them. I'm thinking about them, but I'm not doing anything about it. So that was me. But I know ki I try to do things or make myself as approachable as possible so that they get the hint and they just come and talk to me. But I think now, after I think 3, 4 years, I would not particularly want to talk to somebody for just friendship. Maybe I would want to talk to them for some other reason first.
Like what?
This thing ki, oh, I want to be friends with them does not come to me. I think I'm lying. It does come. I do see people that I like and I want to be friends with them, but then I don't do anything about it. It's like school all over again.
Yeah, it's a different. First of all, Kajal, I would not describe you as seeming approachable. I
Okay.
mean, I was in this master's crowd that she's talking about, and I think I did approach you, but I wouldn't describe you as approachable. I think you seemed very cool to me, and I wanted to approach you, but it
Wow.
was definitely an intimidating experience. It was like, oh my God, I don't know how this is gonna go. She's too cool. She doesn't seem to care. She's just existing out there, being herself. And you kind of want to be friends with her, but yeah, no, I wouldn't call you approachable seeming if you were trying to do that. That is not the vibe you were giving off.
Clearly trying and failing.
I think that's also how a lot of people saw you as just somebody cool and a little bit intimidating, but not approachable.
Okay, I'm not sure how to feel about that. Since our friendship happened in adulthood, I think we could uncover a lot just here.
When you started talking about masters,
Hmm.
and I realized that, oh, right, I mean, that falls into this whole adult friendship thing. When I think of adult friendships, I am thinking of my post-master's life.
Okay.
I feel like to some extent I do see the hints because um, for me also I moved for masters. We both did our masters in Bangalore for context, and we both were in Mumbai before that. Kajal is now also in Mumbai. Now I am in Bangalore, but so I had friends in Mumbai,
Hmm.
and especially three friends who I was really close to, and some other friends also. But I mean, for masters, I moved to Bangalore, and all of these three people like slowly moved out, and it turned into this long distance friendship for us. So I think that is where I was kind of getting the taste of adult friendships there. But when I look at the friendships I was making in masters, that does not feel like, I feel like now that I think about it, it is, they are adult friendships, but for some reason when it was happening, I don't think I was seeing it as,
Hmm.
oh, an adult friendship. Now is when I am coming to terms with the fact that, oh my God, I am an adult, in fact.
Yeah.
But maybe in masters it was not seeming that way, but definitely it was a different experience because I think I grew up making friends proximity wise
Hmm.
at first. Like, I mean, the place I was living at, I had friends in school also, but I think the main, my society group would be the group that I would hang out the most with. We would go to each other's places and we would all know each other's parents and all of that. That feels like childhood friendship to me. And the more you stray away from that, it feels like more and more adult, I guess.
Okay. So, when you talked about proximity, and also in the beginning, you talked about how there are very few opportunities for us to meet new people as adults.
Hmm.
But the master's degree gave us that opportunity to meet new people, a lot of new people.
That's what college does. I think that's one of the main functions of college, just meeting people.
Yeah, but I think as you grow up, as you maybe take up a job, maybe you decide your ways. Ki this is what you like, this is what you don't like, this is where you're going to work, and this is where you're not going to go at all. While making these choices, I think you also limit the people that you're going to come in contact with. And that's where it becomes maybe a little more difficult if you are hoping for a friendship to happen to you. Yeah, yes.
You know what I've noticed about friendships is that I think that most times how friendships actually happen are when, you are dealing with life together or doing really mundane things together, or like for example even just sharing a meal together, or somebody wants to go shopping, you're going shopping with them, and I feel like friendship happens in these small moments that you do together and you just
Hmm.
exist around each other. I think that maybe in college and places where you have to be with certain people for an extended amount of time, that still happens. I think as you grow up and you have lesser opportunities to meet people or make new friends or whatever, decide where you want to devote your friendship energy. I think we try to lean on to common interests and what we like about the person and stuff, which does matter a great deal, but at the same time, I don't even know if I'm just saying that because I feel like we've had this running joke for a really long time. Like the three people I talked about, my childhood friends, I feel like it's just been a running joke that if we would have met as adults, we would have not been friends at all.
Why is
Like,
that?
because I feel like now if we came across each other, we all have some filter systems, right? Like, oh, I want this in a person, or like maybe similar to me in this way or whatever. And maybe based on that we decide, okay, I'm gonna contribute more time, like invest more time.
Hmm.
Maybe it's not happening on such a conscious level,
Yeah.
but that's how you kind of decide who to spend more time with even. And we would have just gotten eliminated straight off on each other's filter systems. But we're still friends because we shared all of those life experiences together and we know each other. And I feel like we don't get a lot of time or opportunity to really know people
Hmm.
when you are adults. I feel like there have been times where maybe as an adult, I have maybe thought that, okay, I like this person because they're similar to me, and I have tried to invest more in that relationship. But then I just don't attain that level of closeness. Like, I'm not able to get as close because that's also not how closeness develops. There was this research that I came across which said that for casual friendships you need like an investment of 50 hours or so, and for close friendship you need an investment of 200 hours.
Hmm.
So of course, who has 200 hours when you're adults? You still can, like I said, I mean, if you're in the circle, like your mom is spending a lot of time with her friend, making the other part of their routine. They're
Yeah,
spending a lot of time together, like quality time. They're just living their life together.
that's true. When I think of my mother's friendship and friendships that happen in her age group, and then also in children, it is very similar. Because what's common in these two groups is that they don't care about doing the next thing, maybe. Because when you're small, when you're going to school, when you're a kid, then you don't have probably a lot on your plate, as in responsibility wise. You only need to take care of yourself and then also explore, which is really encouraged, which is a very good thing. And also, in your late adult, you have sort of this feeling of, coming back to yourself. Now you want to see what you like. Now you want to go out and meet new people. And because everything else is sort of figured out, at least that's true for my mother.
Yeah, I think that's true for your mother. I'm really
Hmm.
happy for her because I don't think that happens to all adults, because I think I see more and more adults just become boxed up, because I think at one point they also stopped trying to put themselves out there at all.
Hmm.
Maybe we also have this preconceived notion that, like I have made all the friends that I was gonna make or I'm ever gonna make, and why put in more effort in trying to build friendships. It's also the amount of importance we give to friendships.
Do you think it's also that we, like you said, that we have made all the friends that we were ever going to make, but is it also that we already have friends that we're ever going to need?
That is true. That is a good point. And maybe it's that also. I think that's part of what we tell ourselves.
Hmm.
And I think to some extent it is true, which is why maybe we don't keep ourselves open to making new friendships. But maybe if we do, then we might meet new people. But at the same time, it still can be really difficult, honestly. I do routinely kind of try to put myself out there. I think it's reduced over time, the amount of times I put myself out there, but I do still put myself out there here and there. Oh, yeah, okay, oh my God, I have a great example for this, okay? So when I'm putting myself out there, so if I'm going to an event or something like that, just like a social gathering sort of a thing, I have met people there, some really nice people, but I have noticed that we don't end up being friends.
Hmm.
Like maybe we're friends, but we're not friends, like in the way that, we don't develop that comfort around each other, or it doesn't develop into something deeper. It just becomes that. Maybe I also see these people sometimes more than once at different events,
Hmm.
but then they're all very formal settings. Everybody's kind of come all dressed up. We're there to have a nice time. We're not really opening up or talking about things, or I don't know, everybody just kind of has a shield up. Even I do, and I feel like it's kind of also normal. That's just what I noticed. But on the other hand, there were recently these two events that I went for where I had to go work. So it was not like a social event where I was trying to go socialize, but I went there to work. Okay. And I met two other psychologists there who were also there to work.
Hmm.
And of course, we haven't had a lot of opportunity to meet and like that, maybe outside of work, outside of those events. But I feel like we still ended up being closer friends than just because we were going through that experience together, because we were working together, because we were joking about it together. So that made a really big difference. And that really came to me right now. These experiences you have together of doing something together or being a part of something together and basically living together, rather than taking out time to just have lunch together, which I still love. And I think that is how I have been connecting with most of my friends at the moment, like my pre existing friends. But I feel like it's not the most efficient way to keep in touch because I think I have gotten dressed up and I'm all ready. They have gotten dressed up and they're all ready. And we're there having a nice time and making small talk, but then kind of stops there. And we're not really having this honest, vulnerable, raw moment with each other.
Oh.
I feel like even when I think about our friendship
Hmm.
back when we could spend time together, I mean, I think we barely went out, first of all. We barely dressed up and went out.
Because you lived a million miles away.
Okay, stop it. Maybe like thrice we went out together, dressed up and all of that. I think two of those three times was because of my birthday. I don't know. But barely. And I think one of those times was when it was like this farewell, farewell meeting we had.
Yes, yes, yes.
Even when I think about the times when I could spend time with you, I
Hmm.
almost barely remember the time we spent outside,
Hmm.
like dressed up or whatever. I think
Hmm.
those are a blur for me. But what actually comes to me the most, and maybe the moments I miss the most, is being at your place after college when I would be super exhausted. You would be super exhausted. Go to your place, like watch a movie or something, or just do nothing. Or you would make your killer hot chocolate and I would get to drink that. That's a separate thing. But I feel like I miss those moments the most. And I think that comfort is difficult to recreate now. maybe you can still have it, maybe you can still just call your friends over, but maybe you're meeting them so less. You
Hmm.
also want to look nice and have a nice time outside or something. Maybe you were meeting more frequently, maybe you could have those moments, but I don't know, it just doesn't happen. At least in my experience, it hasn't been happening. What about you?
I think obviously when we were in the same college, then we were meeting almost every day, and we also made time to meet on off days. And fair, now that you are away, and a few of my friends are also, in different places, it does get difficult because I am also not a tech person. I would not, say, call regularly or text regularly. So that does not work for me. What works is meeting face to face, or if it's a call, then a call is still better. But a call may not happen every day because you would not want to, sit in one place in your room and then talk to somebody. Okay, I'm speaking for myself, I can see that. I would not want to sit in my room in one place on the desk that I work on and be on the video call with my friends and then check in every day. I would do it once in a while, but not every day, not even for better half of the week. I would not be able to do that because it would not feel like a real meet also, and it wouldn't feel like a time alone either. So I would not like that. But I do see ki whenever I do meet my friends in person, we do end up having very intense conversations sometimes, deep conversations sometimes, catching each other up on whatever's going on, and then sort of try to make the time to also connect for real, become close again, or maybe acknowledge our closeness again because because we are different people with our friends, right? We act
Mm-hmm.
differently, we talk differently, and we talk about different things. I do see that happening in the friendships that I have because maybe we try to, cram up everything for that conversation because we have to, because we know we might not be able to meet for another few weeks at least.
I think that's really nice that you still try to be close in that conversation you have. I think maybe for me, I have seen it to be a difficult experience. I guess it's not easy for me to be close when it's a one time conversation, you know? I feel like I need time to ease into it or whatever. Like, if I'm meeting somebody every day or talking to them every day or something like that, I think I'm already eased up. I'm like eased into the conversation already, and it's easier for me to be honest. Maybe this is a me thing, but when I am meeting a friend once every now and then, so
Hmm.
I think there's a lot of pressure that I take onto making that a good interaction. And I mean, it kind of, when I say it out loud, it doesn't make sense why the good interaction has to be where I am not being vulnerable. But
Oops.
that caught that while I was saying it. So I can't be very vulnerable. Like I still do try. I try to give out some details about things I'm struggling with or something like that. But I have noticed that I am not able to feel vulnerable or be vulnerable. I'm definitely feeling very reluctant to. I just want to keep the conversation light, have fun, and go home if I'm meeting the friend once every now and then. So it's good that you, I mean, knowing you, it probably also happens more naturally to you that you do take that moment of closeness, even when you're meeting one time every now and then.
And I think for you, it could also be, like you said, how important it is for you to have something common experience together to be able to connect. But when you're meeting your friend after maybe a long gap, then you maybe want to find that common experience once again.
Like in the sense, I think when you say it like that, I don't know if this is exactly what you were saying, but it did come to me ki if I was, for example, meeting this friend after a long time, but we are doing something that we are meeting to do something that they want to do, like a necessity, like maybe they want to go shopping and I'm just accompanying them or
Hmm.
something like that. I feel like maybe if it was a situation like that, I wouldn't feel as opposed to bringing up vulnerabilities or being more normal and comfortable.
Hmm.
But maybe when we are just meeting to meet,
Hmm.
maybe I feel this pressure to kind of keep things up, like keep a high energy, be more entertaining, I guess, because
Hmm.
the whole reason why they're there is to see me. So I feel like I gotta make it worth it or whatever, and I can't be a bummer. Or maybe it's not even like a conscious decision, I just can't do it. If they bring up something heavy, then I'm there. Like, that's not an issue for me at all. But I cannot bring anything up that's difficult for me to talk about because it just feels like I don't think they would even be in the space to like talk about this. I don't even want to get into that. But if we were there not to just meet, like they have a different goal altogether for the meeting,
Mm.
and I'm just there, then I think that would take the pressure off of me to be all cheery or something like that. Maybe like be more normal, I guess. I would be able to be more normal.
Let's talk about how adult friendships are different from friendships when you are a kid.
As we grow older, we try to prioritize more of this shared interest sort of a thing. But in school and college, I would go make friends based on similarities. And in school, that did convert into close friendships.
Yeah,
And I realized that the main underlying factor there is not about whether or not you have shared interests. I think that the shared interest also adds on to it because that is also how I started talking to my sixth grade best friend. She seemed really cool to me, and then I talked to her, and then we started sitting together on the same bench, and that is how that friendship grew also. So I think the underlying main factor here is that you spend time together. It just you keep seeing each other, and I think you're there with them on the good days, on the bad days. When you're seeing somebody every single day, there are gonna be days where they're all hyped up and like
Hmm.
in a really good mood. There's also gonna be days where they are very crappy and they're maybe not even talking to you properly. And then you ask them what's up, and
Yeah,
then you just talk about more and more things. And I think that is the main factor there in the friendship that I notice, even in what you said now,
yeah,
is same approach, the same thing that you find something interesting, but then you're not spending time with each other.
yeah. There's no follow-up.
There's no follow up, or like there's no 199 follow ups.
So yeah, so clearly proximity and the time
Mm,
that you spend together is really important. Even if it's online, for a lot of people it is
mm,
online, which is good. So proximity and time does play a huge role that we all struggle with as adults because like I said earlier, we have our set ways, we have our set choices that we have made. So it's difficult to move away from that just to make time for friendship. But would you say that it's good to take that time for friendship? Do you think it's healthy? Do you think it's important?
Definitely. Yes, I do think it's important. It's really important. I feel like partly why so many adults feel so isolated as they keep growing up is because they're not maintaining friendships the same way. I think that we need to do more things together. Like just, I mean, I guess I'm gonna try, but honestly, I don't know, I'm gonna have to think myself. But I know that that's how I would feel closer to somebody. Is if instead of when I'm going for lunch with them, what would really help me feel close to somebody is just being there on a day where they just need to do something and I'm there, or I need to do something and they're there, just tagging along, or
Yeah.
they're helping me do something, or I'm helping them do something. And we need to invest more of that time. I think a lot of times we don't open up to each other because we feel like we are burdening each other with our feelings.
Hmm.
It's a sentiment that comes up a lot. I think I've also noticed this with the clients, where why they don't open up to their friends as adults is kind of like, they're going through a lot already. Like they're going through their own stuff. Like I can't pile on to that. And it's just that we forget that we like helping others. Like human beings like helping others. It makes us feel good about ourselves.
It makes us feel useful.
Exactly. It makes us feel useful, good about ourselves. It makes you feel closer to the person who's sharing their worries with you.
Yeah.
It's mostly not a burden. And I think that even the whole thing that we as a culture are moving towards, no, like I need to handle it by myself. Why would I burden somebody with this? Kind of sad because, I mean, that way we're all gonna have our shit. And then it just is gonna make us feel lighter if we talk about our things and let the other person talk about their things. And it just would make us feel closer and better.
Yeah, and it's very, I think, beautiful key. Why proximity is important, like you said, is because so that you can also proximity and time spending together is important because you get to see all the personalities or all their moods, all their days, which may not happen if you're only meeting for lunch outside, if you're only
Mm,
meeting for the meet, or maybe intentionally to get to know each other but without an activity. Because you might
mm,
say a lot of things about yourself and which you might want to, you know, become or which you think you are. But doing an activity together just helps the other person see you in that activity. It is a lot because of how our culture is evolving. The
mm,
eat outs have become so regular or so normal to go for a meal together, like a expensive meal together, dressing up to meet for things to celebrate. That's one thing. But then you also have expensive meals a lot more often now. And when you do that, it's like you're spending a lot of money. You are trying to look pretty. And then the agenda is to have sort of fun instead of connect.
yeah.
If you are not able to show up as you are, then what was the point of meeting?
That's very true. When you put it like that, it does, and talking about things as we have, it does feel like connecting is not being on the agenda really. It's like a side activity. But I wouldn't have thought about it that way. Like that's not how I would have put it. And I think that that's more of a thing that is happening, which is kind of sad
Hmm.
because I would think that like or I would have thought that when I am meeting my friends every time, of course I'm doing it as an attempt to connect to them, but I feel like it's just making me realize that I'm not really connecting or not really allowing myself to connect to
Hmm.
the full extent when I'm meeting in these situations, or maybe the situation is not helping it or something. I feel like I had not realized that having fun together. Yeah, you're meeting after a really long time. But then I really did not think about how it's also not me connecting. Because I wouldn't have put it that way at all. Because every time I am reaching out to my friends to meet, that is me trying to connect to them,
Hmm.
honestly. Like an honest attempt. I guess I'm failing, but an honest attempt.
Hmm. Makes
Hmm.
sense. I really want to say this out loud ki a lot of times things exist, we feel it, but unless you acknowledge it with words, it just exists or comes alive for you
Hmm.
to see and then deal with. Unless we say that out loud, keep we're making attempts to connect, but we're not able to. It's somewhere in the dark or in the back.
Hmm.
And then when you say it out, it just comes alive.
When it comes to long distance friendships, I can do video calls,
Mhm.
I can do texting, but I feel like I haven't been able to. That's a different thing. So, again, with my group of four friends, that is four including me, I came up with this. I mean, I did not come up with it. I saw a reel about it and then I sent it and I was like, oh, let's do this. But there's this concept called the Wednesday waffle, which I would recommend to everybody who's trying to have a long distance friendship actually. But the idea is that every Wednesday you send like this video of yourself, maybe a 1 minute video of you talking about what happened in your week, the ups and downs, sort of like that to catch the others up. And my friends and I did that. We didn't do the video. I think the first time we did it, I sent a video. The others did not send a video. I think they sent like audios or something. And then it just became a voice note thing. It was us sending voice notes every Wednesday, and it was a nice thing. It would actually catch us up on so many things. So sometimes it would be very mundane details. And that is what would be good because sometimes I think you also don't share things with your long distance friends unless it's a big deal.
Hmm.
And this was good to just say, ki, oh, you know what? I saw a pretty bird today,
Mhm.
or I saw a dog fall. I don't know. Yeah, in a very non-injurious way. The dog is fine. But so it would be a very nice way to connect. And eventually I stopped sending my Wednesday offer. And I am good at I mean I like to think so. I don't know if that's changed and now I'm just in denial, but I like to think I'm good at long distance friendships because I can do video calls, I can text, and I try to text sometimes here and there. But I feel like, I don't know, maybe I was going through some difficult times and then I just could not get myself to send a waffle about it. And I think that was the moment I should have the most. Or maybe I needed to send that waffle in the most, but I backed out. And in my head it felt like, okay, I'm gonna start sending waffles once I have the situation under control.
Hmm.
And it just became like 2 3 weeks of me just not sending waffles in. And I think then also more stuff kept happening in my life, and then it's like too much to catch the other person on. And I just stopped sending it all together, and now I don't think anybody sends waffles. I think then two more people dropped off, and then this one person was only sending the waffle for a couple of weeks, and then she also stopped. So I was the waffle killer.
This could be a good reminder for you to start again.
Yeah, I guess so. So now, moving on to also kind of wrap this up and to come towards a conclusion, what do you think are things we can do to have healthier adult friendships as well as maybe try to make new friends when we're adults?
I think for maintaining adult friendships, like you said, a weekly check-in, which could be a voice note, which could be a video call, which could be a text check-in, a physical meeting. I think since we realized in the past hour that proximity and time spending together is important and nothing can replace it. It is just
Yes.
very, very, very essential, very, very important. And for making new
Mm.
friends, keeping these two things in mind, I mean, you do not need to spend matlab, all of your time together, but you also need to be able to share your mundane things. Because if you're spending very little time, then you would want it to be sort of about the important things, but it also needs to be about the mundane, the regular, the not so important, the any things that you should also be able to share with your friends.
I think that one thing also came to me is that maybe we don't need to make new friends, you know? I think it's also about assessing where you are in life and your status of friendships because it's very valid and it makes sense for you to not be able to make new friends
Mm.
as you grow up because there's a lot of responsibilities, a lot of things that demand your attention. And I think it's very important to see whether the need of the hour is to make new friends or to invest more in existing ones.
Yeah.
Because I think maybe somewhere you could also be avoiding that sense of vulnerability and connection when you're
Mm.
seeking out new relationships but not really investing in the ones that you do have.
Hmm.
Nevertheless, it's always good to be open to new friends, and I think that's also important for us to remember, whatever age you are, wherever you are, maybe if you're meeting new people, always be open. You can still make new friends, and they can end up maybe surprising you and becoming really good friends. So never close yourself off to that.
Hmm.
And I think it's very important to spend more time in making new friends and identifying when you need to make new friends because maybe you are trying to invest on your friendships, but maybe your friends are not able to find the time or something like that. Where even though you are investing in your existing friendships, that's not working out. Maybe it's not, you need something more. Maybe you need somebody in the same city.
Hmm.
Maybe you need somebody to hang out with. So it's also very important to identify when you need a new friend so that you can invest more energy in making those new friends when you need it. And also identifying when you don't need a new friend and you need to invest on your existing friendships. And like you said, I think the key to maintaining friendships is to have those vulnerable moments with them, actually connect with people and share mundane moments. And if not share mundane moments, then with your long distance buddies, share the mundane things that happen with you. Really stupid stuff, like really silly stuff, like, oh, I was turning in the metro and I accidentally elbowed somebody's face.
Okay.
Is it a necessary detail for somebody to know at all? No, but it's kind of funny, except for the person who got elbowed. Hopefully, they didn't get injured. But
Yeah. Cool. So that brings us to the end of this episode.
what is the stickiest thought for you, Kajal?
Stickiest thought for me, I think the acknowledgement, I think the realization where you said that you were attempting connection when you were going out for meals with your friends, but then sometimes you also are not able to, show up as you are. For connecting, you would have to show up as you are because otherwise there would be nothing to connect.
Yeah.
What was your stickiest thought, Smriti?
I think for me, the stickiest thought was the moment when I realized that as I was talking, I stumbled upon saying that I feel the need to be all high energy and like almost perform and entertain with my friends so that I make it worth their time. I was like, okay, we gotta look into that. So I think that's the stickiest thought for me. I should be able to feel like I can show up as I am, and that's just gonna make me and my friend closer to each other, and it's not gonna be this me burdening them with like a yucky experience or whatever, ruining their day. So that's a realization that was good to have. That's the stickiest thought for me.
Okay.
So, to our listeners, please tell us what the stickiest thought was for you. How has your experience been navigating adult friendships? Is it easy for you, difficult for you? Do you think there's any challenges that we missed out on? Any tips that you have? Let us know. And thank you so much for listening. It means a lot to us, and we will see you next week.
Thank you. Have a great weekend. Bye. Tara.
Bye bye.